abundance. Now, one of them staged the grandest magic shows the world had ever seen. And he was also renowned for the seemingly miraculous way a simple deck of cards behaved in his hands. His name was Howard Thurston. And most of the critics regarded Thurston as the superior magician of the two. And yet my guess would be that few of you have ever even heard of Howard Thurston. Is that fair? Well, that's because Thurston had the misfortune of competing against another magician who rose above mere fame to enter the realm of legend. Of course, I'm referring to Harry Houdini. Woo! Now tonight, we are going to witness one of Houdini's most dramatic escapes. Houdini's escapes electrified his audiences because he was showing them something new. They didn't know what to expect. Well, it's a little different for us today, isn't it? I mean, we know how this is going to turn out. I'm going to escape. Actually, if you came to this show because you were hoping this might be the one where the performer doesn't get out alive, please don't come up and try to talk to me after the show. I don't think I want to know you. What is your name? Vanessa? You didn't come here to see me fail, did you? Good. The delay worried me, but you got to the right answer. Why don't you come on up and help me? I'm going to need some assistance. Give it up for Vanessa. There will be no math involved, by the way. The whole wedding party could come if they wanted to. You stand right there. I'm a little nervous myself. So, Vanessa, if we're going to tell a story, and everybody already knows the ending, then somehow we've got to make the telling itself interesting. Many of Houdini's escapes involved his spending long periods of time underwater in a tank like this, full of water. He can hold his breath for 5, 6, even 7 minutes. How long can you hold your breath? Probably 10 seconds. Well, it's a start. In a moment, I'm going to ask everyone in the room to hold your breath. I'll count to 3. You'll hold your hand up in the air. When I get to 3, you take a tight breath and hold it. We'll start the timer. And when you get to the point that you feel like you just can't hold your breath anymore, let it out and put your hand down. We'll try to see who can hold their breath the longest. Do you understand? Put your hands in the air. 1, 2, 3. Deep breath and hold it. Start the timer. Now, don't be alarmed. I'm getting into my swim trunks. I'm not disrobing in front of you, Vanessa. Houdini's legend was premised on his supposed ability to escape from any bonds, ropes, chains, handcuffs, jail cells, trunks that had been locked and thrown into icy rivers. Now, some of what Houdini did was remarkable, and a few of his feats were in fact dangerous, but you have to remember, he was a magician, so he used the same, methods of deception that we all do. The truth is that many of Houdini's escapes became bigger and more dangerous in the retelling by newspaper reporters across the country. So as his story spread, his legend grew. And eventually, Houdini's escapes became more than mere tricks. They were symbols of freedom and hope, and the idea that the human spirit cannot be bound in chains. Okay, that's minute 20. Is anybody still holding their breath? Your hand is up. Are you still holding your breath? If you are, you should probably be up here instead of me. Think about it. If it's that hard for any of us to hold our breath more than about 10 seconds, imagine Houdini trapped underwater for 5 or 6. Now there's something you should know about Houdini. He was a short little fella, So for him to crouch down inside a 55-gallon drum was probably not much of a challenge. When you have legs like this, that doesn't really work. So I asked my friends at R&S Maintenance to build me a special drum. It's got a little more leg room so that I'm able to bend down into it. I'll show you how it works here. Surely I don't have to remind you, don't try this at home. I don't want to hear about that. Well, you're in charge of making sure they don't. You said they might. No, do not try this at home. All right, let's see. Be careful with the microphone. Well, here we go. I want you to see how this works. Oh my gosh! Did you put ice in this thing, Rhett? Wait, it's supposed to be room temperature. Oh, you're going tailgating later? My gosh! All right. Okay. Let's see, I need to put this here. Sometimes Houdini would have his wrists chained together right before he went into the water to make the escape seem even more impossible. So Rhett's going to chain my wrists. There we go. Oh, there we go. Okay, Rhett. You don't have to yank it, you just need to make it tight. I feel like we rehearsed this part. Okay. Oh. In a moment, I'm going to lower myself into this water. And when I do, my crew, Rhett and Vanessa, will close the lid and seal it using a series of padlocks. Now this air hose will help me breathe during that process, but once the padlocks are in place, I've asked Rhett to pull the air hose out, and at that point it will just be me and the timer and all this water. Now I've instructed Rhett very clearly that under no circumstances is he to interfere with this escape. If and only if 3 minutes have elapsed and I have yet to emerge from the tank, is he to step forward and undo the padlocks and pull my body out. You understand that? All right, would you take the microphone, please? Sometimes, Houdini simply picked the locks. He was, after all, a self-taught expert on locks, but he was clever about it. He would often strip down to practically nothing to show he hadn't brought any tools with him to aid his escape. That was until his wife Bess gave him one last kiss for good luck.
1 minute.
And secretly transferred the tiny lockpick from her loving lips into his. Now that's a strong marriage. I didn't have to work that hard tonight. I just put a lockpick in my swim trunks. And that is how I managed to escape from the chains around my wrists. Of course, I can't pick these padlocks with just one hand. Houdini reasoned that if the lockpick couldn't help him, maybe a small screwdriver, cleverly hidden ahead of time, could. Houdini usually worked his trickery behind a small curtain, but tonight, there's no curtain. I want you to see how it's done. Houdini knew the audience was focused like a hawk on those padlocks, so he decided to shift his focus to the latches instead.
2 minutes.
And with one small twist of that screwdriver, the first latch was open. Time was running short, and so is my air supply. But Houdini stayed calm. All he needed to do was pop the pins on the other latches.
2 minutes, 30 seconds. 2 minutes, 40 seconds. 2 minutes, 50 seconds. 3 minutes.
'Sweeter. Maybe we'll see you next year. Thank you. God bless you.